OnlyFans.
Oh boy.
OnlyFans.
Talking of unions,
One of the biggest.
Talking about incels.
to be fair, probably a decent customer base.
Anyone who's been rocking with us from the beginning.
Episode 1.
Episode 1. It was
Feminist
probably,
liberation.
It was
was the
probably
title.
episode 1, topic 1, maybe.
Yes.
Where we
Feminist
spoke
liberation.
about
That was
this.
the name
And
of that. Yeah, yeah.
Johnny said it was the closest thing to feminist liberation we have in the 21st century.
Greatest example.
Or greatest example. Bro, I
OnlyFans.
mean, whatever. They were in the news this week, as you're probably aware.
Was that a nod of agreement?
She's processing.
I'm processing right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, but what do you believe
What do I believe about OnlyFans?
in terms of his statement? Is it the closest thing to feminist liberation?
The greatest expression of feminist liberation in the 21st century.
Same shit.
That's when you're only assuming that only women use the app.
No, not at all.
Oh, she got him by the balls, baby.
Not at all.
Because-
I know people who know plenty of guys who make a lot of money. That wasn't the point I was making. I don't think there needs to be a masculine liberation in the same context that a feminist liberation is more necessary. So the point I made specifically was that women taking agency of their bodies, being able to monetize that agency, was the purest expression in the 21st century.
In a safe space.
I can hear all the incels.
Looks like you're in
agreement.
agreement. All right, cool. But they were in the news today for other reasons. They started the week by making a huge announcement that they planned on banning sexually explicit content
Oh boy.
on their website.
It's like the Premier League banning football.
Yeah, but were forced to reverse that decision after securing an agreement with its payment processors. Now, let me break it down. To the dismay of its users and creators, they announced that they would be banning adult material from the 1st of October.
Haram.
But those plans have been scrapped. The company said in a tweet, "Thank you to everyone for making your voices heard. We have secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community and have suspended the planned October 1st policy change. OnlyFans stands for inclusion, and we will continue to provide a home for all creators." Now, they obviously were forced into a reversal because they had a lot of angry users who had initially blamed OnlyFans for this planned ban. The website, which is owned by a porn mogul, I didn't actually know this, Leo Redvinsky, had long expressed a desire to move.
He's from Essex.
Oh yeah, he's from here.
I think he,
Redvinsky.
I think he
he's
is.
probably one of
He
us.
is, he
Yeah.
is.
Anyway, carry on.
Oh yeah.
Gang.
Yeah. Tribe. Not quite gang.
Yeah.
That's you people.
Leo had long expressed the desire to move
Rich didn't
beyond
catch that.
adult material to more general interest content, but obviously had to switch it after a couple of days. Then there was this whole wrangle about whether or not it was about the banks who weren't paying them money to transfer
Obviously.
it to the content creators and blah, 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 blah. But basically, they have turned this decision around. What are your thoughts?
It's pretty clear, isn't it? Firstly, the banks were like, well, so we don't want to get sued if we don't want on the hook if someone sues OnlyFans for some kind of breach of trust or exploitative practice, etc., etc. So you don't need to come up with a business model where you can do this independent content creation shite that is justifiable for us to keep lending you money, right? And then OnlyFans are like, okay,
Keep
we'll
what? Lending you money.
Yeah, the banks will keep lending money or finance an IPO or something later down the line, okay? And then OnlyFans were like, okay, fine, so we'll ban the porn so you don't get sued for some kind of nefarious activity. And we'll present you a business plan and we'll come back to you. And then obviously they presented the business plan and the banks have gone, well, fuck, these people can't make any money if there's no sexual activity on OnlyFans. This is fucking pointless. We'll actually just take the risk of being sued and it's probably going to be cheaper than not having any sexual content on OnlyFans. So it's not some kind of charitable or social dispensation being made by OnlyFans to sexual content creators. This is all down to money. They realize that if they don't allow sexual content creators to use the platform, they're just not going to make enough money for their business model to be viable. That's why they've done the U-turn.
So why did they ban them in the first place?
Because the banks would have said.
I don't buy that.
Banks
for
said
a
we're not
second.
getting sued. We're not getting sued.
I don't buy that for a second, mate. Shall I tell you why?
Go on then.
Because I can use my credit card to sign up to Pornhub. I can use a credit card to sign up to fucking all the porn underneath the sun.
So the reason you're wrong is because even Pornhub have gone through a rigorous verification process for content that gets uploaded recently. So they had a big problem because there was a popular
How'd you find that out?
Sure. This was in the headlines. This was big news.
Yeah, so there was a channel that was taken off because apparently some of the girls had been given weed or had been given booze, etc., and that got Pornhub into a lot of trouble for uploading that channel's content. So now independent users need to be verified and channels had to be verified. So that's a false equivalence.
That's for Pornhub. No, it's not.
That's a false equivalence.
It's not talk.
You can't secure financing if there's a risk of being sued.
We'll let Jess go.
Yeah, because Jess, you were actually looking for people to speak to about this week for an article at The Face, right?
I was.
Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, when OnlyFans announced this ridiculous banning, I was speaking to sex workers across the country who have been using OnlyFans since day dot, which, by the way, OnlyFans was initially created to be a sex platform for explicit content. That was their whole branding. And, at the time, a lot of the sex workers were saying, well, we haven't heard anything directly from OnlyFans, so we're not going to kind of worry too much. However, they haven't told us anything, so they've left us in the dark, because basically OnlyFans hadn't actually published a public statement. They'd only been kind of talking to Bloomberg and BBC, etc. But then it kind of started trickling out, and OnlyFans created a statement about it. And then I received the press release from OnlyFans, which is basically bullshit. It was saying all the banks were pressuring them because they didn't want to be involved with sex work, etc. But firstly, the first thing that I thought about when I read that was, okay, the banks are probably worried because I think like a few months ago or in the last 6 months, OnlyFans had a problem with underage people using the app for sexual explicit content, and they had an issue with kind of like verifying ages. So that is obviously a big red flag for
Shout
any
out
kind
Bad
of
Baby. Or Bad Barbie. Whatever.
She's 18 now.
But this is the thing. So people waited till she turned 18, and then she had like 1 million subscribers.
she's
Or
wild.
I mean,
12 or
that's
what.
She
still a
waited
bit
till
wrong
she was
anyway.
18 before
Yeah,
she
yeah,
joined the
she's
platform.
wild.
But you're
People
18.
waited.
You're 18. Fair dues, fair game, innit?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's your body. That's what you want to do. However, obviously, I understand lenders being worried. But when I spoke to some of the sex workers about this, they actually have issues, having like creating bank accounts. So say like, I don't know, various different lenders will refuse to pay out X, Y, or someone like PayPal or whatever will refuse to pay out money to sex workers because they know that they're sex workers.
Yeah.
So they don't want to be involved.
It's like ESG and all that
Exactly.
shit. Yeah,
so their accounts get shut down. So then, they will get paid through PayPal, or some of the women that I've been speaking to have been getting paid through cryptocurrency,
Yeah,
which is a much
that's the next
safer way
step.
to do it. And that is the next step.
That's the next step.
But it just seemed like a bullshit thing because they also told me that sex workers, OnlyFans takes away 20% of their earnings as opposed to 5% for normal creators. So obviously OnlyFans, their profits are coming from sex workers. So it was very, very hilarious that they did a massive like U-turn because obviously that's where their money's coming from.
I
talks.
think when OnlyFans
Money
started
talks.
and when they were like in beta and they were launching a product and stuff, I think their vision for it may, with what you were saying about the sex workers, may have been essentially like a kind of a Patreon of sorts, right? Where they're trying to get people on and users can directly interact with whoever the content creator is. But obviously, once it kind of took off, it was the sex workers who really helped balloon it to 130 million followers, subscribers,
Obviously.
right? So it was not, I mean, their success was built on the back of
Sex workers.
of sex workers. There's no doubt about that, right? But the argument that they tried to push as to the banks giving us some problems in paying and making payments and stuff, I don't buy it at all, right? Your point about YouPorn and Pornhub or whatever, these porn sites, storm in a teacup. Visa, MasterCard allowed people to make payments on pornographic websites for 10 years and then suspended it for a month. And then after an apparent cleanup, let them go again, right? So I wouldn't say, yes, you could argue that finding funding from new investors into the business when they're trying to scale up to the next level of growth would have been difficult without pivoting away from pornography. Fair. You can make that argument. But the argument that they tried to advance as to, it's the payment gateways that are forcing us to do this is bullshit. And it's bullshit because they reversed it 48 hours later and the payment gateways are still intact, right? And the final point, to Jess's point, is crypto is where this is going to go next, right? We were talking about NFTs earlier, and it's all about decentralization, right? When you live in a world where the whole ecosystem isn't being controlled by one firm, whether that's Facebook or Google or OnlyFans in this example, when you have a decentralized system, then there isn't anyone to switch it off.
Feel you.
The CEO can't wake up tomorrow and say, no more of this, right? It's impossible.
There are actually coins for this. There's one in particular called Cum Rockets, which I'm thinking about buying.
What?
But it's
There
a crypto coin for buying porn in
Yeah.
particular. That's its utility.
Could have been a better name.
I know.
I mean, could it be? Hold on.
It does
Come
exactly
on.
what it says in the
Could
tin,
there
but
be
in a
better
bad
name?
way.
I think Cum Rockets is about as
Nah,
good a
nah,
fucking
nah.
name for
Sometimes-
crypto as you can get.
Yeah, sometimes it does what it says in the tin a bit too well.
Ronsil.
Ronsil.
Calm one.
Done now.
The difference when you talk about, spending money through, say, YouPorn or Pornhub is that you're actually paying a company.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're paying through OnlyFans, that money goes directly to a sex worker because you're subscribing to a particular person, which is why you can't really draw that comparison, because if OnlyFans is banning, sexual explicit content, like that money does not go straight to the sex worker now. And that was what was so great about the OnlyFans model, was that you can actually subscribe in a Patreon kind of model, subscribe to a particular person, and that money obviously gets funneled through OnlyFans, but it goes straight to that person's bank account. The issue is that a lot of the sex workers' bank accounts are being blocked because the banks, I don't know how the kind of like sign up agreement is, you have to say what your occupation
KYC.
is. Exactly. So like that's the issue.
Yeah.
It's also pretty sus because some geezer from PayPal's obviously subscribed to like Lisa Snow's video and be like, well, she's pretty fit, but fuck, I actually can't pay her this month.
Which living celebrity, no one bait, but which living celebrity would take you to OnlyFans to subscribe?
Ooh, what a question.
Ooh.
That is a great question.
I'm going to go with Anne Widdecombe.
What? That's fucking disgusting.
You're disgusting.
I've just got a thing for weakest link.
Oh my god, that's
not
disgusting.
Anne
bro.
Widdecombe,
That's the best you
It
can
is
do.
Anne Widdecombe's the conservative.
Yeah.
I know.
Wait, who's weakest link?
Anne Robinson.
That's the one.
Robinson.
Same shit, innit?
Anne Widdecombe's, but that's the one from
Anne
Big
Widdecombe
Brother.
is-
Anne Robinson's a lot more paying in it. That's what
Don't
I meant.
worry, brother.
A lot more paying.
Like each to their own.
This
No,
man
no,
is
who-
sick.
Who would I go?
Fetish.
Who would I go
Sicko.
for? Who would I
That
go
is
for?
sick.
Well, that's
No,
what OnlyFans are for. Specific fetishes
Yes,
like this.
that's
bro.
right. I am her weakest link. I'd say my first crush was Halle Berry. I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably
You
I'd
go,
stay
Berry.
you
law.
go for Halle.
I'm law, babe.
Halle Berry.
Who would you go to OnlyFans for?
Who would
I'm
I?
not. I'm assuming you don't have a subscription already.
I don't actually.
Who would take you there?
I almost signed up for one last year
Who was it?
for myself
Oh.
because I was like, fuck it.
Hell
Might as
yeah,
well,
Pandy.
100%.
I was like, why the fuck not?
It's a
But then I was
pandy.
also like, I'm a public figure. I can't do that.
No, but not really though, right? At the same time, because like I think
just
there's a
wanna
lot
sell
of
my
content
pennies.
there that's not sexual, right?
Yeah,
So
just
there's a lot of
like
chat
toes
about
and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's fetish stuff, right?
Yeah.
But there's also like a lot of like, I guess the kind of shit that you'd see on someone's Instagram story. You know what I mean? Where it's not something that you want to post on your feed, but something that you're happy to share as a story. That shit is essentially just being moved onto OnlyFans, and people are just seeing a revenue stream as a result of it, right?
Yeah.
But how do you compete with the people that are literally like selling foot and knickers and pants
There's
and all
something
that
for
stuff?
everyone, right? So sometimes people don't want to see people fucking, or you may
Yeah.
not have a particular. You might have a 5 foot, a small girl fetish,
So I know.
Maybe.
I
or
know.
you might have no. But for real, this is a big old world.
I know a girl who's quite well established on OnlyFans. Went to school, and I've been discussing, hoping to get her on the pod at some point. But she doesn't. Well, I guess she maybe kind of does. But her focus on OnlyFans is more holistic and therapeutic, and that's also a subgenre that's quite popular. There's maybe a sexual angle to it because she's an attractive woman. But it's not. She's not fucking people on OnlyFans, and so there is a world outside the
Exactly,
explicit
yeah.
porn space.
interesting.
Even though people are attractive and there is some sexual energy to it, it's not just for fucking people. It's not just a porn platform. But before we skip this section, I had to say, Halle Berry, you might need to put your names into the ring.
Yeah, Halle Berry's a bait one. I just feel like if I
It
say
is a bit bait,
Yeah, if
yeah,
I say
yeah.
something like that, we just feel so dated.
Yeah,
Halle
yeah.
Berry's
I'm gonna
probably
say
like.
Damson Idris.
Damson
Yeah.
Idris.
Damson
Yes,
Idris would
yeah.
get it
Feel it.
everywhere in every hole.
Every- I thought she was gonna say every room. No, every
Every
hole.
hole.
Every hole.
All over the house.
All over the house. Shit. Who would
Maya
take
Jama's
me?
pretty hot.
Oh shit.
That is the
Maya
ultimate
Jama's
bait
pretty
one.
hot.
That's the
I'd run
ultimate
with
bait
that.
one.
Yeah,
That
Maya
is quite
Jama.
bait.
Maya Jama will
So
catch.
bait.
Will catch
Basically, like a 21st century Halle
Yeah.
Berry. Basically,
She'd catch my $18.99 a month for sure. Yeah,
Premium subscription.
yeah, 100%. Her or like Georgia.
You're obsessed
Also
with Georgia
bait.
Smith.
I'm not though, but she's wonderful.
She did a video in Peckham, and now
but
I
they
love
basically
her.
Yeah,
look
exactly.
fairly similar as well.
Oh, you know,
anyway.
I might actually like subscribe to that. You know, that Shannon who got kicked out of Love Island like day 2. See what the fuss is
Yeah,
about.
So if you had to
that.
subscribe to one Love Island girl, if they joined OnlyFans, so let's assume we're living in a universe where every single one of them joined OnlyFans. Who you join? Who you?
Faye.
Oh my
I think
days!
you're
The
gonna
no way.
abusive
Are
one.
you serious?
Wow.
What?
I just want to see the
just threw up
I
in
just
my
want to
mouth.
see how she does the whole lipstick thing like in slow mo. I just
brown-
want to see. I just want to see
The brown lipstick application.
lips-
because that's
her
like
lips
fine
are-
art.
Her lips
going on over
are
there.
Her lips are
like
sauce.
rubber duck. I don't know
Crazy.
what they are,
Crazy.
but
I would get OnlyFans if someone got a sewing needle and popped her top lip.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
pay $18.99.
That's
to
abuse.
watch that.
That's abusive. But anyway, yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, look. Last question on this, just for you. Do you think that on the subject of like ESG and like companies feeling like they have this responsibility to remove themselves or disassociate themselves from the sex industry, do you think that we're going to find that this is revisited and that more and more companies, more and more banks more specifically, pull their money out of companies like OnlyFans?
Definitely. I feel
Yeah.
that I think people underestimate this country. Like, people often assume that we're a very liberal country, and actually we're a very conservative country. And so it doesn't shock me that this has actually happened, and the banks are pulling the money out, and they're a little bit kind of like, oh, a little bit scared because sex work.
Yeah.
But the reality is sex sells, and, you know,
Facts.
above porn and above the things that we watch on our TV screens, these are people's livelihoods. And and for some women and for some people that are on these apps or out on the streets, this is their livelihood, and this is how they feed themselves. So, you know, it's an occupation, and we have to respect that. And we also have to make it a safe space. And I feel like OnlyFans was a safe space, and is a safe space if they continue, for people to do their work safely without putting themselves at risk. And I think these companies that are pulling out, I think, will eventually come to the realization that there's a lot of money here to be made.
Yeah.
And once they have that realization, they'll come back.
Yeah. For
I
real.
think we should watch the OnlyFans subscriber growth very closely in the next 2 or 3 quarters.
I think we should jump on there.
No, I think the opposite.
Are they
I think
public?
we'll see. They're not
Not
public
yet.
yet.
They're not public yet.
They're not public yet, but
No, I
they'll
mean-
they'll release some numbers, quarterly numbers when they release.
I
When
meant that
they
we should sign up.
show.
I'm happy
these
to
numbers.
contribute to the
I
the
te-
user growth.
I do toes.
Yeah, I'm not into the
You
foot
can-
thing.
you
You
can
man are into
do-
that foot thing. I'm
You
not
can
into
do
it.
what's
Who's
that
you,
called?
man, bro?
ASMR. You can do that.
Is that your
ASMR.
fetish, foot?
No.
What's ASMR?
I appreciate like some nice toes and that, but it's not like a fetish.
What would be your fetish going around the table? Like, what
Small
would be
girls.
your thing?
Small girls.
Small girls.
Interesting.
I don't have a fetish, man. I do missionary.
You're boring.
Hmm.
What?
I like cuddles.